שירו, שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש. שירו, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ. שירו, שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו. מיום ליום ישועתו. Unto God, sing a song. Let the whole world, sing along. Raise your voice, let the whole earth rejoice. 'Cause we all just singing a new song. Shiru, Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Chadash. Shiru, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Unto God, sing a song. Let the whole world, sing along. Raise your voice, let the whole earth rejoice. 'Cause we all just singing a new song. Woo! Unto God, sing a song. Let the whole world, sing along. Raise your voice, let the whole earth rejoice. 'Cause we all just singing a new song.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom. It is such a pleasure to be together this evening as we welcome Shabbat. And we have a lot going on in tonight's service, which I'm really excited about. We are excited to welcome our fourth graders, who earlier this evening received their Sidurim that they might use when they are leading services for their Bar Bat B'nai Mitzvah. I'm excited to welcome our friends from Congregation Beth along with my rabbi friends, Amy and Alex Greenbaum. I'm excited to welcome each of you, and I'm excited to have back with us Jacob Spike Kraus. Welcome back.
Shabbat Shalom. Y'all, so good to be with you.
It feels like it has been a while, although this melody, I hope, has stuck in your mind as it has in mine from when our congregations were together for Slichot way back when, from when we were on the high holidays, and this evening to begin our welcome into Shabbat.
You can find these words on the top of page 95 in your prayer books in the morning service, but they work just as well when the sun is down. Hareini mizamen, Hareini mizamen et pi lehodot ulehalel ulshabeh. We sing it again, Hareini. להודות ולהלל ולשבח את בורי, את בורי. Even if you didn't know that part, you can join on this part. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's warm up our Shabbat selves. Whoa.
So good to be together, is to start this Shabbat with intentionality in our hearts and in our minds. We invite you to turn to page 2 in our prayer book. We're not going to be jumping around all night, I promise. We turn back to page 2 as we recognize that it is our 4th grade Shabbat. And on behalf of the wonderful and distinguished teaching crew we have with us in this room, Sandy, would you join us to kindle the lights of Shabbat? Friends, again, we are on page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And we turn to page 5 in our prayer books as we welcome the sweetness of Shabbat into our hearts and our lives with words of Kiddush. If it is comfortable for you to do so, I would invite you to rise as we join together on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho Be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit kilu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim Kimanu Acharta Viltanu Kidashta Mikol Hamim V'Shabbat Koshecha Be'ahava Uvra
Chaim. Friends, you are welcome to be seated. Last week, we continued our service on the bottom of page 14 as a preamble, perhaps, to welcoming a new young woman into this community as we welcome Mavis for her baby naming. Tonight, we sing those same words, light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. Oh, you righteous, rejoice in Adonai and acclaim God's holy name, because it was a sunny day, because it is part of our Shabbat liturgy, because there is light when each of us come together in prayer. Page 14.
Or Zarua Latzadik Uishre Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik Uishre Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik Uishre Simcha. Simcha, or Zarua Latzadik U'ishrei lev Simcha, U'ishrei lev Simcha. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai.
Friday afternoons, members of the temple community have been looking at perhaps some of the more esoteric parts of the Zohar, the beginnings of Jewish mysticism. Some of them are a little far out in left field and require a little bit of interpretation. This prayer found on pages 20 and 21 doesn't. It's become so ingrained in our service, so ingrained in us, that we bring a bit of mysticism into our lives, into Shabbat, with words of Lecha Dodi, pages 20 and 21.
Shabbat, B'nei Shabbat Nikabit, Yalalalai L'Tadodi, Yalalalai L'Krat Kala, Yalalalai B'nei Shabbat, B'nei Shabbat Nikabit, Shamor V'Zachor. Tehillah. Yalla la 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 lecha dodi, yalla la 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 likrat kala, yalla la 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 b'nei Shabbat nikavela. Top of page 21. Kitoreri, Vaorech, Kumi Ori, Shir Daveri, Kivod Adonai, Alayich Nigla.
It's comfortable. We rise to welcome Shabbat.
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha, u'tohola, tov emuneh, am segula.
I invite you to take this opportunity to continue our Shabbat greetings, this time with those around you, turning to the people in your personal space, wishing them a Shabbat Shalom. When you've finished your greetings, you're welcome to be seated as we continue our words of Shabbat welcome, words of Shalom Aleichem, page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharim, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei
Shabbat Shalom. Please join me on the bottom of page 27 with the word entrances. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence. We turn to page 26 for the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah V'yalmad divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'vyomechon Uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bagala Uvizman kariv V'yimeru Amen Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lam me'almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran be'alma v'yimeru Amen.
We continue on the bottom of page 29. What does it mean to be called to worship? All serious activity requires preparation. The prayers and blessings that precede the Baruch are warm-ups for the individual. Now communal prayer begins. The leader asks, "Are you ready to pray?" And we respond, "Yes, let us pray." Feel free to rise in body or spirit on page 28 for the Baruch.
These words are familiar to everyone who doesn't have a sheet of paper as a paraphrase of the words of our next prayer. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
We are 9 lines down in the middle of page 30. You're at the start of your sheets of paper. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to
Friends, our service continues now, page 32.
We'll finger pick. Would love to share this melody with you. Ahavat Olam, all about the love that God shows for our people Israel. So why not sing it as a love song? The refrain we'll sing all together. It's just back and forth. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha. Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim. Beautiful. Last line we're going to sing all together sounds like this. Otanu limadita. Can we try that together? Otanu limadita. Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu B'shofbeinu u'vkumeinu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed. Ahavat Olam Israel, Amcha, Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim. All together, Otanu limadita. Israel, Amcha, Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadita. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael.
In just a moment, we will sing the Shema, singing of God, of our love for God. But what we just sang so magnificently was about how God loves each and every one of us. And one of the ways that we can feel God's love is that special light, that special part of us that is like none other. And I can hear that special light within you that makes me feel wonderful inside. And it reminds me of a beautiful saying by Avishag Zelek, who says that everyone should understand that within each of us a lamp glows, and each lamp is like none other. and we must work to reveal our own special light, making it a torch that can illumine the world. And now it's my pleasure to call up those amazing fourth graders again as we turn to the Shema on page 34.
You're all welcome to be seated. As our service continues now on the following page, page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn to page 41 in preparation for Micha Mocha. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles and earth protected and cherished. A gift of our children for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Page 40, Micha Mocha.
Same tune, let's add words. Micha mocha ba'eli madon, Micha mocha nedar ba'kodesh, Micha mocha ba'eli madon,
please join me at the bottom of page 42 with Grant, O God. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our coming and our going to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
We continue on the top of page 44. Where are my fourth graders at? Shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorot berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ben Yuven b'nei Israel oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash.
Speaking of those fourth graders, would you join us one more time on the pulpit as we introduce the start of our Amidah? We are on page 46. And after we join in these opening words, we'll continue with the prayers of the Amidah, page 46. If it's comfortable for you to do so, we invite you to rise in body, perhaps in spirit, as we join together. Good? You ready? Let's do it. 2, 1.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Kon לפני הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We invite you to take this opportunity to continue praying the words of Jewish tradition through page 60, or to add at this time the silent prayers and meditations that can only come from each of our own hearts. If you are standing when you have finished your silent prayers, we invite you to be seated. In commemoration of an auspicious anniversary and in preparation for our prayer for peace, which can be found on page 60, I share these words by Rabbi Reuven Kimmelman of Brandeis University. He writes, "May God grant the Ukrainian people the fortitude to resist and reverse the onslaught from Russia. May the defeat of Putin's army bring about a rebirth of freedom for the Russian people. May Russia and its neighbors live together in amity. May the hope of our Rosh Hashanah prayers, from which this next section will be taken, ring throughout the land. V'chol harish'ah kula ka'ashan tichla, ki ta'avir memshelet zadon min ha'aretz, v'timloch ata Adonai, levadecha al kol ma'asecha. May all evil dissipate like smoke, for the removal of tyranny ushers in the reign of God for all, peace for all. Amen." Page 60.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, shalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
On page 253 in our Sidurim, we find our Mishaberach Lecholim, our prayer for healing. With these words, we bring to mind those in need of healing, healing of mind, of body, of spirit. If there are loved ones you are thinking of for our prayers for healing this evening, I invite you to share their names aloud.
Ukrainian people.
Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, God, who brings a measure of comfort to all who are ill. And together we say, Amen. Page 253.
Misheberach Avoteinu Mikor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
two rabbis leading services together. Do you know how they choose who's going to offer the Devar Torah, the sermon? I'm not sure either. Probably flip a coin would be my guess. And if there are three rabbis in the room together, do you know how they're going to decide? Rock, paper, scissors, maybe take a vote and figure out who the odd person out. If there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, anyone else? 5 rabbis in the room. Do you know how they're going to decide? Jacob, they're all yours.
Shabbat Shalom. Seriously, it's like a carousel of rabbis up here. It's so exciting. We are just about a little over a week away from my favorite Jewish holiday of all of the holidays. And I love the holiday of fourth graders. What's coming up in about a week and a half? So close. Does start with a P. Purim. Awesome. Purim coming up Monday night, a week from this Monday. My absolute favorite holiday for a slew of reasons. First reason, Purim, only holiday where it's commanded, not optional, commanded, must, have to, no alternative. It is important to be as silly and goofy as possible. I love that. That's like 75% of my identity, is how silly and goofy can you be. I feel very seen during the holiday of Purim. I also really like Purim because I think that Purim has the best moral at the end of the story of all the holidays. And there are some good ones. There are some other good ones. The other ones aren't bad. Purim's is just better, I think. So there's this rabbi. None of these rabbis. There is, in fact, an additional rabbi. This rabbi from a way long time ago. Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav. And you may have heard Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav said this really famous quote. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tsar me'od. You might even know the song, right? Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tsar me'od. Gesher tsar me'od. The whole world, kol ha'olam kulo, the whole world is a gesher. Anyone know what gesher is? I'll give you a hint. A gesher is something that connects this piece of land to that piece of land, and you can drive across it. It's a bridge. Awesome. Thank you very much. Gesher, tsar, very narrow or skinny, thin, awesome, right? Gesher tsar, me'od, very skinny. The entire world is a very narrow bridge. So think about walking across a tightrope. Rabbi Nachman said, the whole world, very narrow bridge. V'ha'ikar, the most important part, lo lifached, to not be afraid. At all, klal. Most important part, not to be afraid. Did you know that rabbis can sometimes be wrong? Cover. Did you know Purim teaches us about fear? This is one of the reasons I love why I love the story of Purim. There are 2 teachings about fear and how we as people handle and face our fears in the Purim story. And we're supposed to learn that both of those are the most important. And there's a lot of stuff we can learn about people in the Purim story because it's one of only 2 Jewish texts where God doesn't show up at all. There's no God. Not even a little bit. Not even like a written down on a piece of paper. You imagine if like the whole Jewish Tanakh, Jewish history is like a long running television series, and then the Purim story is like a spin-off where it's like got the same title, but all the characters are totally different and they have no connection to anything that's going on with the rest of the story. Right? God isn't mentioned even once. The entire Purim story is a deep dive into people and the way that we handle our adversity, the problems, the stuff that we face. How do we handle fear? How do we stand up for ourselves? How do we operate in a morally ambiguous world? Does that sound at all relevant? So there are two heroes in our Purim story, and each of them handles fear slightly differently. We're going to break it down right now. The first hero, her name is Queen Vashti. We don't talk about Queen Vashti enough, but Queen Vashti is the first hero of our Purim story because King Ahasuerus comes and he says, Vashti, let's go. I'm having a party with all my buddies. It's your job to come and entertain us. And Queen Vashti says, this is a smart fourth grader. Queen Vashti says no. Queen Vashti is the Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav interpretation of how do we address fear. Queen Vashti says no. She says, I am not your property. I am not the same thing as like the beautiful tapestries that hang on the wall of the palace. I'm a human being. I'm the boss of my own body. And I do not come at your beck and call regardless of the fact that you wear a crown. Vashti knows that the most important part about fear is not to be afraid. And the Megillah teaches us that that is indeed one method of dealing with our fear. Just don't be afraid. But the king says, well, okay, kicks Vashti out of the country forever, exiled, banished, no more Vashti. And then the king holds a beauty contest, and the hottest person in Shushan turns out to be, thank you very much, Esther. Which, fourth graders, by the way, when you're looking for a life partner, later on, you don't need to hold a beauty contest. You're looking for what's beautiful on the inside. Okay? One of the examples, one of the moments in our Purim story where we're not supposed to take a lesson from is right here. Okay, but Esther approaches her fear very differently because we're fast forwarding a little bit. Everybody do your fast forward sounds. Yep, okay, so we fast forward a little bit, and Haman, thank you very much, for a bunch of stuff that we will maybe talk about on Sunday, but we don't necessarily have time to right now, decides that he is going to try and exterminate all of the Jews. And he rolls dice and he says, okay, 14th of Adar, that's the day that we're going to kill all the Jews. And Mordechai said, and it's not a secret, right? They're like putting it on billboards. They're sending out town criers because they got to get everybody involved. There's a lot of Jews. And so the people know, and Esther, who has been secretly Jewish this whole time and has not told anybody that she's Jewish, is Mordechai's niece, cousin. It's a little bit ambiguous, some kind of relation. They're in the same, they go to the same family reunion barbecue every Labor Day weekend, okay? And Mordechai comes to Esther and says, girl, it is time. You need to go to the king. You need to tell the king that you're Jewish. You need to save all the Jewish people. Let's do it. And what does Esther say? All right, you got this one 100% right last time, so fourth grade, I'll give you it's the same answer as last time. What does Esther say when Mordechai says, you need to go save all the Jewish people? Esther says, no. She says, are you nuts? I'm not doing that. I'm scared. There is no way that I am doing that. And Mordechai says the absolute greatest thing that any Jewish person has ever said, ever. In my subjective opinion. Greatest thing. Now, fourth graders, I will tell you right now, on the promise, pinky promise, that you don't spill the beans because I'm going to talk all about this on Sunday with the rest of the religious school. And if you spill the beans there, then I'm going to have to fill like an extra 20 minutes of stuff. Cool? So fourth graders, this is a secret. We're making a pact right now. You're going to pretend like you never heard this before, but only while we're at school on Sunday. So when I tell it again at Sunday school, you're going to be like, oh, wow. Spike, you're so smart. Deal? Great. Mordechai says the single greatest thing that any Jewish person has ever said. Mordechai looks Esther dead in the face and he says, what if you were brought here for exactly this purpose? And I love that for three reasons. First of all, I love it because Mordechai didn't say, you have to do this. Because sometimes I don't want to do something. Somebody says, Spike, you have to do this. And I say, be quiet, I'm not doing that. Right? Number two, everyone hold number two. Number two, I like it because he didn't say, you can do this. Because sometimes, I don't think I can do something. And somebody comes up and they say, Spike, you can do this. And I say, I can't do this. Right? He doesn't say, you have to do this. He doesn't say, you can do this. He says, you were made for this. Which is a nuanced difference from you can do this, but it's an important difference. Because what if you were brought here for this moment? What if you are made for this moment implies that all of your experiences, all the times where you succeeded and all the times that you failed, all the times where you were successful, all the times that you struggled, everything that you have been through, all of your confidence and all of your fears, make up somebody who is capable of handling the challenge that's in front of them. You are made for this. Every part of you, including the part of you that's afraid, was made to handle exactly this moment. Amazing, right? Such a good thing to say. And Esther says, okay. And it's not a Vashti, I have no fear. It's a, I am going to do this even though I am afraid. Even though I'm scared. This is the second version that the Megillah teaches us. Is the ha'ikar. Ha'ikar is the most important way to go through life. It's not just don't have fear. It's, hey, if you do have fear sometimes, that's okay. You recognize that you are made to handle that scary thing that's in front of you. And you lean on your community and you lean on all of your past experiences. The Megillah gives us this amazing phrase, La Yehudim hayta ora v'simcha v'sason vikar. For the Jews, there was light and joy and gladness because both of our heroines, whether they didn't have fear or they did have fear, pushed us to a part of the story where the Jewish people were indeed saved. And for the Jews, there was light and joy and gladness. Some of you who were with us in November, either in person or virtually, will remember that I shared this setting of a song all about light. I talked about how the winter is my least favorite time of the year because it gets dark very early. And it gets light very late, and I don't like it at all. Now's our time. It's almost Purim. This text happens right now. And so at the end of this Devar Torah, Devar Megillah, I want to bring that piece back because it is timely and also focuses on this concept of what it means to be a light and what it means to be unafraid or to still be afraid but to push through. It's a Purim song. I mean, it's a Havdalah song, but it's a Purim song. That's why Purim is my favorite holiday. We're all going to participate. Do me a favor, sit up straight, feet on the ground, deep breath in, slowly out. Our part happens together. It's just nigun. You don't need to learn any words. Yainai, try that. Yainai, yainai, nai, 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 nai. Try. Yainai, nai, 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 nai. Yainai. And it repeats. Yainai, nai, 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 nai. We'll sing that together a few more times. Everybody needs a little beacon like a fire in the night. So I'm working on believing that it could be me, that I could be the light. I'm not afraid. I am unbreakable. I'm not afraid. I am unshakable. I'm not afraid to be the light. La Yehudim hayta ora. La Yehudim hayta ora. V'simcha v'sason b'ikar. Yai dai 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 dai. 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 Yai 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 dai 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 dai. I know that you're with me. I can feel you in the corner of my mind. So I'm working on believing that it could be me, that I could be the light. I'm not afraid. I am unbreakable. I'm not afraid. I am unshakable. I'm not afraid to be the light. So from now on, I'll give the best of me. Yesterday's gone, a new one's ahead of me. So from now on, I'll be the light. La Yehudim hayta ora. La Yehudim hayta ora. V'simcha v'sason b'ikar. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai 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 dai 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 dai. Shabbat shalom.
Our service continues now, the bottom of page 282. Page 282, words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. As you find your page, as we open the ark, if it is comfortable for you to do so, we rise.
Aleinu L'Shabeach Ladon HaKol, Lateichula Le'otzer Bereshit, Shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, Velo samanu k'mishbechot ha'adama, Shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, V'goraleinu kechol hamonam, V'anachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar V'haya Adonai Lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad.
You may be seated. particularly to our young people in the room. You guys are all being rock stars. I realize that it is late at night and that this is a longer service, and I am so impressed by each and every one of you. And I know we're about to get to the hardest part. At this time in our service, we read a list of names that when you are antsy and ready for a cookie feels like it goes on forever. Indeed, it does go on forever, for we remember those who have come before us. We remember those of the previous generations, important to those in this room and those in our congregation. So I invite you to do your best to bear with us as we remember first from the Temple Emanuel community and then from Beth El. This Shabbat, we mourn the loss of Arnold Breslow, who is laid to rest in recent days. And we observe the period of Shloshim for Desi Rasmussen and Lois Eileen Smolowitz. This Shabbat, we mark the yahrzeit, the commemoration of the passing of Hilda Ackerman, Sophie Auerbach, Irma Berkowitz, Leon Better, Helen Bloom, Marilyn Bober, Mildred Millie Caritas, Saul Chetlin, Bernice Cohen, Max R. Cohen, Harry Cooper, Sandra K. Crouch, Dora Tex Eisenstadt, Kate Hepner Fargostein, Mildred Fensterscheib, Doris Farrell, Milton L. Fireman, Philip Glick, Stanley Gorin, Sarah Heater, Judith S. Hoffman, Sidney Kaufman, Paula Kent, Ellen Lang, Milton Lebovitz, Jack C. London, Zenaida Lopez, Joan Maglin, Louis Mines, Harry Motzman, Riva Perlman, Abraham Podolsky, Florence Samowich, Leon Sachs, Esther Gordon Schneider, Harold I. Shore, Shirley Shore, Leonard Schwartz, Eunice Scott, Raina Shamus, Isidore Shapiro, Robert D. Shapiro, Marty Silverman, Nathan Red Simon, Celia Solomon, Judge David Stahl, Leigh S. Teplitz, Saul Tobias, and Lena Wald. Rabbi?
And we also remember Gilbert Berman, Edith Bernstein, Louis Blau, Maxine Slavonsky Brunwasser, Melvin Herbert Epstein, Pearl Frischman, Morris D. Green, Yetta Pomeranz, Floyd Schechter, Anna Stein, Meyer Teitelbaum, Samuel Truss, Sal Diamond, Goldie Endick, Samuel Endick, Rochelle Glickreif, Pauline Elizabeth Grandal, Del Grosser, Dora Krifcher, Bernice Lukaski, Saul Metlin, Francis Rosenoff, Earl Rosenblum, Rabbi Frank Schiffman, William Singerman, Lillian Steinberg, Lorraine Allen, Bertha Altman, Naomi Beller, Elizabeth Cohen, David C. Denmark, Pauline Friesman, Betty Jean Goldblum, David Stern, Philip Weiner, Mona Anathan, Melvin Burnsweig, David Brilliant, Marion Friedman, Sylvia Eiler, Morris Lowe, Bud Schulberg, Emma Wolf, Eva Zeman, Ella Elpern, Ray Gewertz, Ben Goldberg, Aaron Harris, Louis Katz, Paula Kent, Scott P. Levy, Alfred Nayhouse, Milton Rosinski, Nora Tabak, Bluma Berger, Marilyn Bober, Bertie Bronstein, Jack Cohen, Louis Cutler, Hannah Dichter, Morris Denmark, Mendel Iser, Leon Kroll, Judith Miller, Libby Perlman, Louis Regal, Harry Rosenfeld, Alexander Schulberg, Sarah Stein, Betty Unger, Albert Zucker, William Davis, Florence Silver Davis, Joseph Frank, Samuel Friedman, Clara Ade Golfend, Jack Greenfield, Paul Rosenberg, Ethel Rubin, Edith Silverman, and Judith Weiss.
There are others whom you are remembering this Shabbat, or if we have inadvertently mispronounced the name of a loved one, we'd invite you to share their names as well. Yehei zichronam livracha. May the memory of our loved ones be for us an everlasting blessing. Words of Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 294. And if you are in a period of mourning, or if it is your custom to do so, we invite you to rise for words of Kaddish as we continue page 294.
Yikadal v'yikadash shmei rabbah ve'almad tiruach v'yirtei v'yamlit malchutei v'chayefon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam lamei almaya v'parach v'yishavach v'pa'ar v'tromam v'yitnaseh Vitadar, Vitaler, Vitalal, Shemedek Visha Brichu, Ve'elam Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushbechata V'Nechemata, Damiran Be'alma V'Imru, Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya, V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael, V'Imru,
Amen.
Oseh Shalom Nimruma, U'yaseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
May God, who makes peace in the highest of heavens, make peace for us and for all who mourn. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. Thank you, sir. With a tremendous thank you to our musician in residence, Jacob Spike Kraus, for not only leading us in music, but teaching us Torah or Megillah this evening. Thank you, sir. To Leslie for making all of this possible, to our amazing team of educators under the direction of our amazing Torah Center director. Thank you for everything that you all do to enrich the lives of our young people. Fourth graders, you were amazing. And I hope those Sidurim, those prayer books that you received from your parents and from your synagogue this evening have a treasured place on your bookshelf for many, many years to come, and may you put them to good use. To our friends at Beth El and their rabbis, thank you for joining us in partnership this evening and throughout the year. And to everyone who is joining us in person, we invite you for a cookie immediately following our closing song, page 322. For those who are joining us on Beth El Zoom or Temple's live stream, I wish we could send you a cookie. I hope you have one at home, that you can enjoy that taste of sweetness in Shabbat with us as well. Page 322.
Tahu
Shabbat Shalom.